That's right. We don't submit to terror. We make the terror.
But it's not hard to imagine a government hiding, hoarding alien technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves, in a state of perpetual war, to create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home, with tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
Or a simulated alien invasion using alien replica vehicles that exist and are already in use.
An alien invasion of the U.S.
I went through the Pentagon 10 days after 9/11. I went downstairs, I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office and said, I want you to know, he said, sir, we're going to attack Iraq. And I said, why? He said, we don't know. He said, I said, well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, no. He said, but I guess they don't know what to do about terrorism, and so they think, but they can attack states, and they want to look strong, and so I guess they think if they take down a state, it will intimidate the terrorists. And, you know, it's like that old saying, he said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail. Well, I walked out of there pretty upset. And then we attacked Afghanistan. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir. He says, it's worse than that. He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. I said, 7 countries in 5 years. I said, is that a classified memo? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me. He was about to show it to me. He said, because I want to talk about it. And I sat on this information for a long time, for about 6 or 8 months. I was so stunned by this, I couldn't begin to talk about it. And I couldn't believe it would really be true. But
there has to be 2 things. There has to be a motive. If you don't have a motive, a reason for doing this, then you need to be highly suspect. You need to also look at who are the witnesses. The witnesses in this case are all terrorists, and all of them know either they tricked the Trump administration into changing its position, or they are going to lose the war.
You mentioned briefly the white helmets, the videos from Idlib now circulating online, and quite a lot of people have commented on the fact that these aid workers, however you want to refer to the medical workers, don't seem to be wearing any kind of protective equipment for dealing with what we're told were hazardous materials. I just wondered what your take is on that.
Well, we know that if you touch a droplet of sarin gas, that immediately you lose your bowel movements, you begin having trouble breathing. These people obviously are not concerned about that. They are masters at staging deceptive operations. They've done it before, and they will do it whenever it will benefit their cause. Again, what would be the motive of Syria attacking a group of women and children? What's the purpose? I defy any of the mainstream media to give me a reason why President Assad would launch a sarin gas attack against the terrorist whom he's defeating everywhere on the battlefield.
You want motive. I particularly want facts. Regardless of how it turns out, we need facts, evidence. Nikki Haley's showing people photographs. Why is she doing that instead of giving us proof, evidence? There must be some. There must be testimonials, if nothing else, from survivors.
Well, you know, this is to cause people to react emotionally. You need to react rationally. I've been involved in many criminal trials. I will tell you, I could show you tons of terrible photographs. What does that mean? It means something bad happened. The question is not whether something bad happened. The question is who did it and why. No one can give me a reason why Syria would use poison gas. I defy anyone in the media to give me one good, sound reason why Syria would do this.
It's hard to know exactly what's happening in Syria right now. I'd like to know specifically how that release of chemical gas, if it did occur, and it looks like it did, how that occurred. Because frankly, I don't think Assad would have done that. It does not serve his interests. It would tend to draw us into that civil war even further.
Who do you think is behind it? Who do you think is behind it?
You know, you've got a war going on over there. Supposedly that airstrike was on an ammo dump. And so I don't know if it was released because there was gas stored in the ammo dump or not. That's plausible. I'm not saying that's what I think happened. But
You're more inclined to believe the position of what Bashar al-Assad is saying and what the Russians are saying right now than more inclined to believe what even your colleagues here in the United States believe is truth, that this is Assad, and what human rights observers over there say is Assad?
I don't think it would have served Assad's purposes to do a chemical attack on his people. So it's hard for me to understand why he would do that if he did.
Congressman Tom Massey, thanks for your time.
يلا خلاص يلا جيب الطيارة